Tidying up loose ends, ladies and gentlemen. Final segment for this week's edition of shows on what is the hottest form of Alabama football news, notes, and information. It's in my own words with yours truly, your man, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. I am live in studios. First and foremost, people, from my family to yours, I would like to wish each of you a very happy, blessed, joy-filled 4th of July weekend, Independence Day weekend, a happy birthday to our country, our nation, the United States of America. As always, saluting the brave men and women that put their lives on the line every single day for our freedom, for our independence, just for our lives. And hopefully each and every one of you taking this moment to enjoy time with family and friends. And although we were going to have former Alabama wide receiver Marquise Mays join the show, had to do some rescheduling. We will have him on at some time very soon in the near future, continuing the conversation with former players, coaches, recruits, just guys that know and understand what it means to be a part of the University of Alabama football program. We've had a great week of shows for this week. We've gotten the chance to dive into Plan B when you look at Alabama's situation at quarterback behind Tua Tagovailoa. If in the event we see the returning junior, Heisman finalist, and consensus All-American go down with the injury, we want him to stay healthy, but if there comes a situation where he was to get hurt, we dove into Plan B for Alabama. And is that Plan B, whether it's Mac Jones, Tua Tagovailoa, or Paul Tyson, is that Plan B ready to go for 2019, the upcoming season? We also got a chance to dive into Xavier Williams, the redshirt freshman wide receiver, and could he be the next Floridian to come to the University of Alabama at wide receiver and be a game-changing player? But from those two topics, we tidy up loose ends with this right here. I want to have some fun. I want to engage the best fans in college football. Yes, I'm patronizing you. I want to engage the best fans in college football, the Crimson Tide fans. With this being 4th of July weekend, Independence Day weekend, I'm going to throw out to you my top 5 players that I got a chance to watch in my lifetime rock the number for the best. And if you have some players that you felt like were great number 4s, I want you to comment in the comment section here on YouTube. But my top 5 greatest Alabama players to wear number 4, and I'm going to start this off at number 5, and it was somebody that we were going to feature on the show, Marquise Mays, my number 5 player to wear the number 4 at Alabama. The reason why I have Mays at number 5, he was not the strongest player, he was not the fastest player, but he was just somebody that embodied leadership, character, when you had to get the job done, whether it was with Greg McElroy or whether it was with A.J. McCarron, you could trust to find Mays on the field to get the job done. Here is somebody who played for the university from 2007 to 2011. His career numbers, 136 receptions, 1,844 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. The 2011 year was a big year for him, 56 catches, 627 yards receiving, did have a touchdown, was a second-team All-SEC player that year. And the reason why Mays is at number 5 is, in 2009, he was a big part of Alabama's Southeastern Conference Championship win over Florida, 32-13, making Tim Tebow cry. Was a big part of Alabama getting to the BCS National Championship game, but he had Julio Jones overshadow him, right? Julio Jones was the big face. You had Julio Jones, you had Darius Hanks, and then third was Marquise Mays. In 2011, Marquise was able to be the number 1 receiver. his ability to adjust from being the third option in 2009 to the number one option in 2011, having to settle A.J. McCarron into the role of being the starting quarterback as a redshirt sophomore, and being that leadership guy, being that security blanket, being that go-to weapon, those dependable hands. Mays is not only a receiver, but as a return man, really enjoyed watching him. He was my number 5 guy to rock number 4 the best. Dropping down from 5 to 4, I go with Tyrone Protheroe, my original number 4. Grew up watching this guy, played under Mike Shula from 2003 to 2005. Protheroe came at the time where I was growing into my love affair, my fandom for Alabama football. I came in the Dubose, Franchione, Shula, Joe Kines, Mike Price, and then Nick Saban era. So I came in during what you would call the locust years, where Alabama was struggling, trying to get back to the top, trying to get back to the dominance, to where guys like Wallace Wade, Frank Thomas, Paul Bear Bryant, Gene Stallings had this program earlier. So I came in the locust years, but still tried and true supporter with the love affair of Alabama football. But Tyrone Protheroe, his career, 58 catches, 863 receiving yards, had 5 touchdowns, had a yards per carry average of 14.9 in his career. That 2005 season was just special. 17 catches, 325 yards, 3 scores, averaged 19.1 yards per reception. The game against Southern Mississippi, that ridiculously sick, nasty catch. I mean, to this day, I believe if Brody Crowell was to call Protheroe on the phone, he's probably still going, bruh, how in the Sam Hill did you catch that ball? He pinned the ball on the back of a defensive back's neck. They roll in the end zone. It was simultaneous. Tyrone Protheroe makes the play. They call it a touchdown. I'm going crazy in my 12-year-old mind. It was unbelievable. Won an ESPY. Like, Tyrone Protheroe won an ESPY. I think he's the only player right now in Alabama history that has won an ESPY. Now, of course, Derrick Henry is up for an ESPY right now, but that's for NFL purposes, him being with the Tennessee Titans. I'm talking about strictly college football. Tyrone Protheroe is the only guy I know with an ESPY in terms of Alabama football. What an incredible catch he had, and he was even more dynamic as a return man. 29 returns in his career, whether they be punt returns or kickoff returns, for 774 yards and a touchdown, and then just the gruesome hurt on my face, in the face of Alabama fans across the nation, against Florida in 2005. He comes down with that horrific compound leg injury, the fibula just broken there, and him being carted off the field. Just tough. Just really, really tough. And you never know how special that man would have really been had he stayed healthy. I think he could still hold a lot of premier records in Alabama history if he could have stayed healthy, because he was electrifying. He was special. He was prime time when you look at Alabama football. Tyrone Protheroe, my original number 4, and my number 4 guy to rock that jersey like nobody's business. Moving on down to number 3. Gotta give it to running back TJ Yeldon, who played from 2012 to 2014, the 5-star out of Daphne, Alabama. I was in college with TJ Yeldon, and there would be moments where you could be on an elevator with him, going to a dining hall, going to your dorm room. You could be walking across the quad with him to class. You could be walking across the quad with him to a certain event, and you would never really know that he would be next to you, because Yeldon was not a big talker. Didn't like to conversate a lot. Unless you really, really knew him, he was not a big talker. He was not a big conversator. Would smile here and there, but he was a guy that was really reserved and he would get his business done on the field. As far as a running back goes, he would put on another face and just be Mr. Nasty. I mean, the kid, 576 career carries, 3,322 rushing yards, 37 touchdowns, a two-time 1,000-yard back in 2012 and 2013. 2012, 1,108 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns. He tied the freshman record for scores set by Mark Ingram in 2008. And then 2013, Yeldon, 1,235 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns. In both years, he had an average of over 6 yards a carry. This guy, a two-time BCS national champion, a two-time SEC champion, in 2012 and 2014, was a part of the BCS national championship team in 2012, and a guy that, though he had some issues at times with fumbles, but be that as it may, that's besides the point. When he touched the football, hit the hole well, got up and down the field, you couldn't catch him, soft hands out the backfield, toughness in between the tackles, was just a guy that went to work, did his business, went back home, a phenomenal player. The number 3 guy on my list to rock that number 4 in honor of Independence Day weekend, T.J. Yeldon. Moving this down to number 2, gotta go with Jeudy for me. Jeudy for me, number 2, present day right now. Jeudy, the pride of Deerfield Beach, Florida, Deerfield Beach High School, 5-star guy. Alabama brought him in that top-ranked 2017 signing class. Did some things as a freshman, but this past year, the kid blew up. 68 receptions, led the team, 1,315 receiving yards, led the team, 14 touchdowns, led the team. Fred Biletnikoff Award winner, also consensus All-American, and a guy right now that was a juke move machine in high school, but has become a total package wide receiver in terms of hands, speed, athleticism, play recognition, pass pattern, toughness, understanding how defenses are going to play him and manipulating those defenses. Just an all-around big play target. And a guy that right now I'm looking forward to seeing in the upcoming season. He's projected to be a top 5 player or a top 5 prospect for the 2020 NFL Draft. Some even have him as a number 1 or the number 1 overall pick on the horizon. But Jeudy, my number 2 guy in terms of players that rock, but number 4, the best for Alabama. Moving on down, my number 1 guy, my number 4 that I got a chance to see, Eddie Pick 6, Eddie Unselfish, Eddie Baller Jackson. I really got close to Bojack. Really, love this guy. Great personality, just great overall young man. From him coming in 2013 from Boyd Anderson High School, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Nick Saban picked at him from time to time, but he knew that Jackson had greatness in him. And from him as a freshman in 2013, him as a sophomore the following year to where he got hurt in spring ball, hurt his knee. It was a push for him trying to get back, had some struggles regaining that speed. But in 2015, when the coaching staff made that move for him to go to safety, and they brought in Mel Tucker, it was happy day. Eddie Jackson, 6 picks, Mr. Center Fielder, Mr. Captain Quarterback of that defense, Mr. Funnel the ball in the middle of the field, Mr. Flip the field, Mr. Holler at a player when you see him in the street, you can't catch him, he gone to the house for a touchdown. Once he got his hands on that pigskin, Eddie Jackson enjoyed him. 2015, 6 picks that year, led the team, picked off Deshaun Watson in the first meeting between Alabama and Clemson. helping the Tide seal the deal in the 2016 college football playoff national title game off the 15 season. I was there in Glendale, Arizona, University of Phoenix Stadium. Alabama getting that 45-40 win. Jackson was a big part of that. But what I love the most about Jackson, going back to his unselfishness, 2016, I was at DWR Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville for Crimson Tide versus Hogs. And Minkah Fitzpatrick records an interception. Was the third pick thrown by Austin Allen. And I'm thinking Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to take a knee in the end zone. Out the corner of my eye, I see Eddie motioning Minkah out. Minkah comes out of the end zone. I'm thinking, no, Minkah, don't do it. Knee the ball down. Just knee the ball down. But all of a sudden, I should have just shut my mouth because Eddie Jackson knows what he's doing. He motions Minkah out, and all you saw was the one-man convoy express. I mean, Eddie Jackson was the ultimate Uber. He sat there, got in front of Minkah, knocked 3 guys down, knocked down a big offensive lineman. He took on Austin Allen, knocked him out the way, was the perfect convoy for Minkah Fitzpatrick's 100 yards, blades of glory for a touchdown. Eddie, the ultimate player, and a guy that, just like Tyrone Protheroe, was electrifying as a return man. Like Protheroe, like Marquise Mays, Eddie Jackson, big time in punt returns, and like Protheroe, just a freak injury in 2016 for Jackson against Texas A&M. Gruesome leg issue, and it caused him to miss the rest of the season, despite the fact him being a permanent team captain. That was great. You have a lot of Alabama fans to this day that go, oh, if Eddie would have been healthy. Oh, if we would have had Eddie out there, we would have taken out Clemson. Alabama would have beaten Clemson in the second matchup that featured Deshaun Watson. But Eddie Jackson, tremendous player, outstanding young man, and my number one guy for the Tide that rocked number 4 the best it could have been worn in honor of the 4th of July. Folks, running back through this again, my top 5 players in Alabama history, my lifetime, to have worn number 4 like nobody else could. Number 5, we had Marquise Mays, wide receiver. Number 4, Tyrone Protheroe, wide receiver. Number 3, TJ Yeldon, running back. Number 2, Jeudy, wide receiver. At number 1, Eddie Bojack, pick 6, unselfish Jackson at free safety. Once again, if you have your list, comment that at the bottom of the YouTube channel here. That's going to do it for In My Own Words, this week's edition of shows. As always, ladies and gentlemen, you download the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app for all Crimson Tide news, notes, and information. The iPhone App Store, you're rocking Team Apple. Google Play if you got the Android phone. Podcast options, as always, at the bottom of the screen. You subscribe to tdalabamamag.com. Be in the know. Be the smart fan. Check out the site. You also subscribe to Touchdown Alabama Magazine on YouTube. Getting with the brand with over 1 million video views. We return next week. We will continue with the conversations with former players, coaches, and recruits that know about Alabama football as the interviews move on. Until next time, folks, it's been In My Own Words. So long, everybody. What's up, college football fans? You can catch the show every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Subscribe to get all the news, notes, and information covering your Alabama Crimson Tide.